Hey there, you sleepy comatose fucks, and welcome to Horrorphobia, a spooky a spooky
Yum.
movie review podcast for the horror lovers and the horrorphobics alike. I'm your host, Jake. Next to me is my wife, Emily.
Hi.
All the way across the internet, we have our friend Ryan,
Hello.
and all the way across the slutty internet is our friends Ian and Jake.
Yo.
Yeah.
All right. We are a group of lifelong friends who review horror movies. Why horror movies? Because I love them.
And I don't.
And we keep our friendship live through this, through reviewing spooky movies review. Because I don't know, because I say so.
Because we got
Uh,
nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Hanging on by a thread. Dude,
First,
that's
we'll
right.
begin with a spoiler-free review. We review on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being and 10 being
That
we will
fart
go
noise was
around and get.
not as good.
Well,
Give me another one.
you edit.
Just give me the fart noise right now. Nope. Try again. There you go. That was better. I'm hard.
Boning up.
Oh, I want to push that fart.
First, we'll go around and get everyone's score for the film. Then Ryan, acting as our resident scaredy cat, will rate the scare factor of the film. Then
Ooh.
we will transition to our spoiler-filled walkthrough of the film, including behind-the-scenes info, maybe critical reception upon release, production
count on
budget
Don't count on
versus
it.
box. Production budget versus box office gross, and our own personal likes and dislikes of the film.
Cap.
What we've got this week is 2010's James Wan vehicle Insidious.
We made it away from 2007.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Progressing.
Is this our newest movie? No.
Welcome
Dr.
to the
Sleep was before this.
future.
Oh, yeah.
Future.
it's Color Out of Space, I think.
Boy, space.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah, that was
20
2020.
Yeah, that was
Doctor Doctor Sleep 2 was.
I think that's 2019. We saw-
2019.
Well, yeah, but
we-
it's still later than this, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
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 Just fucking leave me alone, dude.
Oh my God.
Dude's wearing a
Alright.
watch
What you
right
do?
now. I guarantee it.
All right. Here's my synopsis of Insidious. Insidious is a. I said that.
Insidious.
Stop this dick.
Insidious.
You.
Without further interruption, let's celebrate and suck some dick.
Insidious is another staple in the paranormal haunted house film genre. The bones of this film are very familiar to fans of the genre. A husband and wife with their innocent children are terrorized and near torn apart by an external evil force within the house. Nothing too crazy original there. But what this story does have is a few distinct choices that makes the dynamics in the family make more sense than the usual haunted house story tropes that we've seen time and time again. Which, because of those logical choices, the film makes the viewer find them. Which, because of those logical choices, the film makes the viewer find themselves yelling needlessly at the characters through the screen a lot less than your typical haunted house movie. Some of the haunting imagery greatly loses its effect by the end of the film, but most of the scares at the beginning and the middle are well crafted and effective. The music in the film often sounds like crashing pianos and serrated blades being dragged across violin strings. And I would be remiss if I did not mention the blue filter in this film. Just like almost every other horror film made during this time, just as a podcast, this will be our second film with this type of filter. When I first saw this film, when it came out, my first critique was that the imagery ends up losing its effect by the third act. But now, as I look back through the lens of time, I can't help but feel that this was an audition for James Wan to make a better version of this film with a movie like The Conjuring. But for the most part, the story is pretty original, good jump scares, and believable. And logical characters make for a very competent horror film. I'm scoring this movie 6.5. Tiny Tim's tiptoeing through the tulips. That's better.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
Only
agree with that.
mumbled through one sentence.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
That's
better
fair.
than
New
the-
record.
All right.
New
So-
lap record.
So Ryan, what are you giving this movie?
Okay. I'll read my review here. Insidious was nominated to watch because so far in this podcast, we haven't watched anything that truly scared me. So reluctantly, I watched it, and it was kind of scary. But my scare rating for this film will inevitably invite scarier movies into the mix, which will answer my internal questions of whether I'm actually scared of horror movies or I just used to be, and then projecting those memories onto my current self. Regardless, this movie was pretty cool. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I like the concepts it dances with, where paranormal activity can become a scientific problem you can deal with when you have the proper information. At the same time, I found myself most engaged with this movie when the mystery was not yet solved. The third act lost me a little, with the set pieces being mostly to blame. But overall, I found this movie to be pretty okay. There were more than a few effective scares, and the story was cohesive enough to follow, even with the shaky third act. And I gave it a 6.8 Vertigo stretch scenes.
Nice. So you liked it better than I did, technically.
A little, I guess, a little bit, yeah.
I'm surprised. I honestly thought you wouldn't like this movie. Like I thought you'd be more bothered by this movie.
Yeah, I thought you'd like pick it
Just-
apart a little more.
You know?
Because
mean,
I'd be mad.
Uh,
at
I thought
it.
you figured you'd be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to be fair with it because, like, there were. Uh, okay, so going back to Color Out of Space, I think I was very harsh on that movie, and which is why I brought the score up like 2 points by the end of us reviewing it.
Oh,
So going through the lens this time, even with the things that I was like, I don't like that, I don't like this, or whatever, I was also still trying to keep in mind the things that I did like about it and weigh those accordingly. So that's where I ended at a 6.8. I did like the movie. Like there were some things that I thought were, a lot of times I feel like in paranormal movies, it's kind of just, oh, the paranormal thing is here and you have nothing to do against it. Like you're fucked. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it's, and I liked the concept of like that there was ways around it.
Mhm.
It's like there was kind of ways to understand it and to like beat it almost scientifically.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool concept. So like there was definitely, with all the tropey stuff it had,
Yeah.
there were original ideas that I appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm still sorry.
So go ahead, Ryan. Ian.
No, I was just gonna say like I'm still like getting a better understanding of like the horror genre that freaks Ryan out too. Because I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if it was paranormal, like because this had some like freaky visuals in a way, that if it was your first time watching,
Mm-hmm.
But
I think it's getting into the Raiders mindset too. Raider, like rating,
Mm.
not rate like a Raider.
Oakland
Like Indiana
Raiders.
Jones.
fuck the Raiders,
Go
fuck
Raiders.
the Raiders, dude.
Fuck
Oh,
the
so they're
whole
not even Oakland
AFC
anymore.
West,
Yeah, they
Vegas.
including the
Vegas.
Broncos.
Vegas.
dude, love the Broncos, dude.
Yeah, getting into the rating or the reviewer mindset of being like, well, I just don't want to be like, I don't like this movie, so it's a 1.2,
Yeah,
and just being
Mm.
like, where would I put this if I'm
yeah.
trying to like balance what I think everyone would think, what horror fans would think, what I actually think,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then just coming up with a composite of all those.
yeah, for sure.
So, Ian, what are you giving this movie?
So to me, like this movie, it's like it's a movie like you're walking through like a haunted house that starts off pretty exciting, and you're having a good time with your family, and the clown actors, they get a few good jump scares on you, and then all of a sudden the rooms they start to get messier and they start to smell, and your wife's upset, and you're confused, and you start laughing. Through the pain, and you just want to leave, but you paid for it, and your kid's having fun, so you just stay. And at the end of the house, they're selling Auntie Anne pretzels, and all is good, and you're happy. And
Is this what
So-
Chat GPT rated? the
this
movie?
is what ChatGPT wrote for me. No,
What the fuck are you talking about?
I was gonna let Chat GPT write me a summary, but you know, it's trying to ruin my life, obviously. So
All right, so
Um,
what would you
so
what would you
I
score this film?
I'm gonna give this a 7.2 epilepsy-inducing camera flashes.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Hi.
Fuck that shit,
So
dude.
far, Ian likes this movie the best.
It does.
I'm surprised. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I got a feeling other Jake's gonna be pretty low on this one.
Well, before we
Probably.
get to Jake's shitting all over this film, Emily, what do you what do you think of this movie?
I feel like the first time I watched this with you, I was like still afraid of home haunting movies. Like that's the genre that still scares me the most. And this was the first movie that I saw that like I still felt like it was more effective the first time I saw it. Like it was still scared me a
Yeah.
little bit, but it made me feel like okay, I can handle this. It desensitized me just a little bit more.
Yeah. No, I mean, like this was definitely
Yeah.
when I saw this, I would have been what, 18?
Yeah.
And
Just moving to new places.
Yeah.
moving to new places, and I like is this, it had a few jump scares that
Yeah.
like genuinely got me at the time, and like I'm prepared for them now because I've seen this movie like at least 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but it was like it's well crafted jump scares, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And
I like
Yeah.
watched the second half of it through like my eyes, through my hands, just looking through my fingers.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a better way to watch it. But this time it didn't scare me as much, obviously. I liked
Yeah.
like you can tell, like Ian said, those like flashes was like James like Saw. Like that's his like little saw peeking through.
Yeah.
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 I give it a 7
Yeah.
out of 10. Check the corners of your room before you go to sleep. That's what I give it.
Yeah.
All right.
I will add too, like this was I remember when I was first getting into like wanting to watch horror films, and I remember talking to Jake, host Jake, about like, hey man, like what do you recommend? And
Yeah.
this was one of the 5 movies, was like this, Oculus, The Conjuring, I forget the other ones.
Really, I
This was like
suggested
yeah,
this.
this was yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I'm
I
pretty
would have
sure-
said, don't
Well-
waste your
No,
time.
honestly,
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
kind of surprised because
yeah.
It's a good like babies first, like
I'm just
it's a
kidding.
good.
Yeah, like this
Scary
is
house.
Maybe that's why. Yeah.
yeah,
Or-
like this is a good movie to introduce like someone into like the paranormal
Yeah,
type,
I
you
guess.
know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Emily, it's kind of a weird one because like it's a movie I love. Like this is my favorite genre of horror film, but like
Same, yeah.
it's I don't know. It's just this movie. It's not even on my top 100. Like it's got
Yeah.
it's just some of like I don't know. I don't know what it's a 6.5 for me. I don't know.
I think it's a good recommendation because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people could come into this movie, including people like who are like, oh, my parents don't want me to watch rated R movies. It's like they're fine with anything, but it's like sometimes that rating is enough to be like, well, you can watch this one.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like that great equalizer. It's a good balanced movie for. I mean,
Yeah. It's
how
it's well
you know what?
paced.
My review is balanced. What it
All right,
is.
All right, give us
let's
how
hear
your
it. Let's
review.
hear it.
Yeah.
All right. This movie keeps me living out of boxes and unpacking in locations I like less and less, from a big mid-century house to a weird, cloudy, foggy clown dungeon. And it doesn't let me settle in enough to either be afraid by some of the decent jump scares or make fun of it when that same jump scare or weird camera, shaky cam angle like gets to me.
Yeah.
So it's the soundtrack was decent, which raises the score. That's by Joseph Bashara, something like that. Jake mentioned it. I think it's solid. It's good just to listen to on its own.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
I was listening to it
And
today while I was writing the review.
Yeah, there were certain scenes that kind of reminded me like Hereditary in a way.
Yeah.
Where it was just
It's fun to listen to on its own, and also it makes the movie better, along with the performances by most everyone in the movie, especially the family members. I think they all did a really good job. Husband and wife played the biggest roles here, and I think they both did good as someone who's falling apart and someone who's kind of disbelieving, and they kind of got to make a lot of heel turns in this movie, and I think they handled it well for how disjointed I felt in this movie. But I think this is my first time watching this movie and getting comfortable with this genre. This is a genre I generally avoid because I don't do a really good job of suspending disbelief, and this movie sent me kind of on a thread. So overall, pretty good. I gave it 6.1 useless paranormal gadgets.
All right, so he did like it the least, but we're all like floating in the 6 and 7
Yeah.
area. So that's
Uh-huh.
we're all pretty lukewarm about this movie.
Yeah,
Which-
I think I gave it a higher rating because this is probably my favorite genre
Yeah.
of movies.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's
Yeah,
not
probably
my
it.
favorite genre. I don't like these movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll
Again,
get him.
And
I
that's
We'll
what I
like
wear him
thought.
down.
I like being spooked out by genuine like houses I've never been in and be like, wow, I got a bad vibe in there. So this movie simulating that, it's kind of like the gore concept of me being like,
Yeah.
I don't like to be creeped out in real life, but I really don't like the being patronized by being simulated. So,
I
I don't
would
know. I'm weird.
absolutely hate to be in a haunted house. Like, I would never stay in a haunted house. If Jake ever wants to do that, the Jakes can do that. I'm not.
I would
Yeah. I would
rather
not
do a
mind.
haunted house because they never do them good. They always
Oh,
do
I
them
like
cheesy.
an actual haunted, like a
No,
spooky
she's talking about
haunted
an
house.
actual like a house.
Oh,
where-
a real haunted house? Fuck that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I
Katie.
don't
No,
mind
I'm
that.
with you.
Never.
Me and Emily will go to the fucking casino. You guys can go into
Yeah,
that
you
fucking
guys
shit.
can stay
Like,
at the.
Oh, you
fuck
talking
that.
Casino too. I
You
mean, I
talking
don't
about
want to lose. I don't
Zach
want to lose out on
Bagan's
some money.
place in Vegas? You
I
talking
don't
about
know.
Zach-
I
Oh, yeah.
just it was the first
Yeah,
thing that came to
that's-
mind. Don't call me out.
That's commercial bullshit. But no, Katie wants to move into like a haunted house.
Oh
Like,
my
that's all
God.
she wants to
Sure.
do.
Get
But
her on the
that's
pod
her
right
vibe.
now. Get her on the fucking
Someone
pod
was
right
someone was killed next door. I think
She
That's
likes
probably got some
Beetlejuice. Of
psychic
course, it's like
energy.
of course it's her fantasy. She loves Beetlejuice. Like that's like the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing
Oh my
about
God.
Beetlejuice. You get to move in with it.
I'd love to spend a night in like one of those asylums or something
Oh,
like
yeah.
upstate. Like
Oh my
upstate New
God.
York is known for the
Yeah, would you
sanitariums.
I
pay
mean-
$1
and,
million to spend a
Oh,
weekend?
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I lived on Grant Street. Like, I already lived in a
Yeah,
haunted
that's-
house. Like,
Okay, I lived in
Sure.
that same fucking apartment before you, and
Yeah.
I agree. That place was
Yeah,
super fucking
super
haunted, which is
haunted,
why
yeah.
I moved.
Yeah.
So you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
no, I'm
You'll be
done.
fine.
Like, that ghost already, it came with me. It's lives with us now.
I
That-
like learning the lore of a place and like in real life because I'm like, oh, this is semi-real shit.
The
Or there's
lore-
like photographs or like
The lore
I
of
mean,
Grant
because it-
Street was there was an old woman who lived upstairs that died 30 years ago and was like, "Stop stealing my underwear." That was her only haunting. Was just
fucking
not.
sweet.
And
Let me
now,
find them undies. That's a drop.
wait, is she
Everybody's
actually?
dying, bitch.
So what do you giving this spook factor, Ryan?
dying.
Highest so far, but maybe not as high as you
Mhm.
think it would have been.
It's 1 out of 10, correct?
Fine.
Is what you still
Yes.
rate it on? Okay.
Yep, 1 to
Some
10,
tit-
and
old
I
lady titties.
I gave it a 5.5% hearing loss after watching this film.
No.
Oh yeah.
I want it. Sorry.
No, it was the
Yeah.
fucking the violin thing you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like those noises were
No,
so
I know.
fucking
Like
loud.
if it fucked up at one of my drops, and then I couldn't even use it as a drop.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane.
Is it worse
but
than
yeah.
the Funny Games one? I mean, yeah, it would be.
Oh yeah, it felt louder to me. Like
Yeah.
just because it was so sudden. Like it was, and it would when they would come out of nowhere. It. Sometimes I feel like it's cheap to use sound in a jump scare because it's kind of like, okay, you could have gone to a completely black screen and did the loudest noise possible, and it would have made me jump.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's kind of the well, like one of my favorite scenes in Hereditary is because it doesn't do a jump scare. It does the opposite of a jump scare. And
a sit
just-
scare.
well, no, I mean it's just
Yeah.
More like
It's
a
almost like a
ceiling
it's almost like a break beat.
actually.
Yep.
It's like, oh, they dropped the bass.
What's
out.
the opposite of
from
jumping?
under.
Laying down. Like what? I don't.
I don't know how to explain it without spoiling it. It just it does.
Okay, yeah, I'm
it
sure
does,
we're gonna
like,
do that movie.
The
eventually.
way it frames the camera, like it's like when you watch enough of these movies, you can just see the positioning of the camera and you'd be like, oh shit, it's just like when you watch a movie like Scream and somebody goes to the bathroom, they open the mirror,
Hmm.
Yeah.
glass mirror, look inside and grab whatever pills or deodorant that they need and close it, and the person's behind them. It's the same kind of concept of like you kind of get used to it.
Yeah. So okay, like this
And the
movie
music
was
is a hat on a hat.
yes.
Like if there's a musical element to it, it just feels like, oh, we didn't need all that.
Yeah.
This movie was so I went into it thinking like I'm gonna be fucked up. Right? And I watched it and I was like, yeah, that was scary. But then I slept like a baby that night. And guys, you gotta help me out here
Yeah.
because I'm fucking terrified that like I might be killing our podcast here. Because
No,
uh, I'm like, am I not scared of horror movies anymore? Like,
This podcast is about friendship.
I
Yeah.
guess
this is the
We have
purpose
to
of
the
it.
only thing, there
Fucker.
is one thing. There was one fallout from watching this movie, and it was actually, it was yesterday, or no, it was today, because I watched it last night. So yeah, it was today, and I was delivering mail. I'm walking, and there is an abandoned house I'm walking by, and there is a life-size statue of the Virgin Mary holding a baby, really creepy looking.
The Christ
I
baby.
mean,
And I walked by
Totally
it
the
and I
child.
like swore it moved. And I like looked at it and I was like, just you ever look at something and like an inanimate object, like a doll or something, and you're just watching, staring at it, like expecting the eyes to move and the head to
Masturbating.
turn.
Never saw
I
them
think so.
titties. Never saw them titties, man.
You imagine him though in a library parking lot? Are you kidding me, dude?
So, yeah, like I'm like
Dump them.
expecting this thing to move and it doesn't obviously, but I just kept looking back at it. And that was the only thing that like so a lot of times when I get spooked, the reason why I've hated horror movies this whole time has been because of how often and for like how long of a period of time that they stick with me afterwards,
Yeah.
where I'm just like on edge for like a super long time. But that hasn't been happening a whole lot recently, so I'm wondering if maybe I'm just not as scared as I used to be, or if maybe we just haven't watched the right movies yet.
let's
Could be.
see.
So
We can
Well, I
watch
mean,
the right
if-
movies. I
Yeah.
mean, that's not a problem.
We
We
Oh,
can
can
just
yeah.
watch
jump
them.
right
We
in.
know exactly what movie to watch if you want to watch it.
Uh,
We can watch
Ugh.
If a saint statue is going to move, it's going to probably be Mary, the
Yeah.
Black Madonna.
I think
Yeah,
that'd
so
be
So it's
scary.
like you end up on the news
That
and be like,
probably-
I saw her fucking move.
And then I saw
And
her in
then
my
she was
toast.
in my toast.
She was in my toes.
Nightmare, 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 nightmare.
Yeah.
We can just change the
You-
description of this
Mamma mia.
to like Ryan slowly finds himself within horror movies, and
Yeah.
that's how
Yeah.
we can change it.
Okay.
Do you
so,
remember?
Well, go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. No,
No,
No, go
you.
ahead.
No, you.
Nothing I-
No,
God,
nothing
you.
I. Do you remember what movies
Craig,
you've seen
Craig.
that freaked you out?
Yeah.
To
Like,
go more along with that.
yeah, for sure. And like, okay, I'll mention it here, but like,
Darkness Falls.
this was something that I wanted to get into more on. Like, I know we're planning on eventually doing like kind of like
Goofy
a
movie
shorter
too.
like intro episode to kind of explain the
gotcha.
premise of this podcast, whatever. But I'll explain it here. Like the movie It fucked me up. Like I remember specifically that movie fucking me up. There were scenes in Cabin in the Woods that fucked me up. Like the zombie things in Cabin in the Woods freaked me the fuck out,
Yeah.
especially the one with long hair that was like in the water. Like
Huh.
that I remember I had just gotten married and I remember just laying in bed looking at the door all night for like a week. Like, and this is when I was like 22.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 30 now, so this was 8 years ago. I don't know how much I could have manned up in 8 years, but I guess I'm just more cynical now. I will say this, and this is what reminded me of this. Jake earlier had said Mamma Mia, and I just went to go see the Super Mario movie. Right? Me and my girlfriend went to go see it.
What's the scare rating?
Yuck.
It was pretty. It was like a 7
Shit.
Yeah, no, I'm watching it, and I find that since we started this podcast, I can't watch movies without the filter of I'm reviewing this.
Good.
Like, I'm like incapable of watching it without like analyzing, picking apart, and holding on a pedestal everything I like, dislike, whatever. Like it's a problem, and I'm wondering if that's affecting my scared like meter. Like I'm wondering if like
Absolutely.
the fact of me going in like I'm reviewing this movie is almost
Yeah.
like shutting off that part of me where like my suspension of disbelief is gone. I'm watching a movie.
That's
You
what I
know
was
what I
saying
mean?
during
Like,
my review. Yeah.
yeah.
My ability, and I've had that for such a long time. And I do that with everything. Like, even things I legitimately enjoy and I should just be enjoying, like skateboarding or music. I find myself hyper analyzing and I'm like, fuck, am I doing
Yeah.
myself a disservice by
I
not
know.
just
Just
liking
enjoy
what
it.
I like and
Yeah.
enjoying
Yeah.
this thing without being
That's-
like, yeah, but that was kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
have I become like just more cynical from reviewing movies? Like,
Oh,
what the fuck?
yeah.
But just to conclude that though, Super Mario Bros was trash. You don't need to go see it.
Ah.
That's our review of Super Mario Bros.
We weren't. We didn't go see it, but like, I'm just gonna wait till.
Can you get the clip of Jake barking? Oh, sorry. Go.
I will.
What do you
I'll
say?
clip
I
it.
We'll get it. We'll get it
I
clean. or
probably
something.
talked through it. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you.
But all right. So that's. I guess that's the spook factor.
Mhm.
Was it 5.5?
10 minutes long as
5.5.
usual.
Yeah.
5.5.
5.5 out of 10 spooks. And let's get into spoilers. You fucking bitches.
Wah.
Whenever that plays, I feel like I'm like Sean Bean just getting shot with arrows. Just like fuck.
Who is that?
Slow mo staring off into the sky.
Wait, who's Sean Bean?
Sean Bean, he was Boromir in Lord of the Rings.
Oh. Oh, gotcha.
I'm surprised I recalled his name that quickly.
It's a good name.
I was gonna call him Faramir, so I'm glad you talked first.
Nice, dude.
I was gonna call him Ned Stark.
Ah,
House Winterhold.
that would work.
Sean
Winterhold. I don't know.
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean.
Good name.
Big Bean. The Big Bean. Destroy the bean.
Oh please.
Destroy the child.
All right, so I guess one of the things that I want to talk about this movie was just the fact that supposedly one of the reasons that this movie was made was because James Wan's claim to fame was Saw, and a lot of people thought that or at least he took it the way that people thought he couldn't make a good horror movie without being gratuitously violent or anything like that. And so this was basically, here's my PG-13 spook film.
That's interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was like his sponsor me tape.
Yeah, like which like
Like,
Wes,
here's get me more funding.
yeah, like Wes Craven did Red Eye, and that was his version of this.
Oh,
Where like he's like,
Ah.
watch me do a PG-13 movie.
that's one of my favorite
I
movies.
did
If
not
was more,
know.
I would include that.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was PG-13.
Yep. PG-13.
Oh
He-
yeah, yeah.
He drops the F-bomb, but
Never saw
I
them
think so.
titties.
Yeah, there's nothing
No,
else.
no titties, man.
Rose burn, you prude.
I had a crush on her around this time too. So
dude,
would've
I
loved to see
like
that.
her,
on
and
her
so
now.
I like Rose Byrne a lot in almost everything I've seen her. I did not like her in this movie.
Yep. I jerked off
Oh.
3 times.
I thought she
Ah!
was great.
I don't.
I like scared women.
There were some scenes where, like, especially like the ones where she's like kind of like devastated that her husband Josh doesn't believe her about it. Like,
You didn't
I
believe me.
felt like her acting
believe me.
was not on point. Like, and I always have.
She was very forgettable for
Yeah,
me.
I've always considered her like a
know?
really good actress. I've always liked her. It's just
Yeah.
in this.
In Bridesmaids.
I loved her in Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it really
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Let's watch that.
Let's do that one.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrifying. But no,
Oh my
I think I just for some reason like she just was like kind of like not her best performance in this film. But
Yeah.
I liked what they were
I could
trying to
see
do
it.
with the character, but you know,
Yeah.
because I like this the story as a whole. Like I feel like this movie was kind of like Paranormal Activity, but not found footage or not like security cams. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
was almost like if you did a movie like that, but as an actual movie
Yeah.
where you know what I mean.
A lot of the cameras were like you felt like you're like I'm the perspective of the entities.
Yeah. Well, like, and
Yeah, for
you're
sure.
like I'm standing in the corner watching this person like tend to their baby or
Yeah.
watching over the kids.
And one of the things I alluded to, in my review was, like about the logic of the movie is like this is one of the only horror like haunted house movies you can point to where the wife goes, "This house is haunted. I want to fucking move," and then they actually move. Like every other haunted house movie, they're like, "No, you're crazy." But this one,
Yeah.
they move, and and that's so like it kind of makes you as a viewer be like, "Oh, well, he did what she asked him to do," and then obviously through the exposition of the film you find out that the kid's haunted and it has nothing to
Mhm.
do with the home, and that's just a good twist on the genre.
Does anybody have a guess? If you know, don't say it. But if does anybody have a guess what the budget was for this film?
I'm gonna guess it was Blumhouse. Is it was,
Ah,
I'm gonna guess
that Blumhouse money.
It was Blumhouse.
That
The way it
Blumkin
was.
money.
Blumhouse during that time was very low budget, so I'm gonna guess 13 million.
I have no
I'm
concept
gonna
of
guess
money.
small hat, big budget, 25 million.
So the fact that this was recorded in like a house,
Yeah.
and I think it was recorded in like 3 days. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say like 5 million.
I'm going in the middle and say
5
9 million.
Are we doing Price is Right rules?
Yeah.
If Ian's right with Price is Right, I mean, regardless, it's 1.5 million.
Damn.
For this movie.
That's wild.
I mean, that
They
does make
made-
sense
That
with
went
the
over.
limited amount
That's
of
cheap.
time they recorded
That
it
is
in.
cheap as
Yeah.
hell, and they made 13 million when it opened, but overall, like it's gross like since then, like through all streaming and purchased copies, $54 million.
That's awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
That's just
Damn,
US
54 sticks.
total. With if you factor in internationally, $100 million they made off of this movie
All right.
Damn.
Sounds like they made some money.
Damn.
Yeah.
off of 1.5.
Good on you, kids.
Yeah, that's
Well, I
that's
mean,
good.
if you look at how much
I
the
mean-
Saw series has made,
Yeah.
like the James
Oh,
James
God,
Wan
yeah.
has made
Yeah.
so much money for
That's crazy that
Blumhouse.
they even made it in that much when he has been that established.
Well, he wasn't that like
Yeah.
at the time, because this is 2010, so this is only like 4 or 5 years after Saw.
Yeah.
So he like
Yeah.
on like this was his, like I said, that like I don't know if this was his follow-up film to it, but that was definitely a big part of the thing of like everybody seemed to think that he was only stuck in that kind of torture porn
Yeah.
kind of genre of horror, and he was like, no, I can make a very good, and then, and I think I honestly part of it was probably like I mentioned in my review was he already had his idea for The Conjuring and he wanted to do that, but like he needed
Yeah.
to show that he could do that, and I think that this was a big part of that.
Yeah, the one thing I would say that I found distracting with this movie is the fact that Patrick Wilson, Josh, he's in both The Conjuring and this movie.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's more like a mind fuck of like I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
watching
Weren't
this
they
movie
talking
and,
about
like
crossing over those universes?
I
The
don't think you-
Conjuring and
I don't think you
Insidious?
can.
I'm not
They
Yeah, I didn't-
did. They drew Spot or what's his name, Jigsaw, on the chalkboard in the school.
I
so
saw that.
people say that that's the same universe.
Oh,
But
I didn't see that.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
the-
see
behind
that.
him as a teacher, and all the names above Spot. I keep calling him Spiral. Jigsaw are the producers, like that are in detention.
Damn, that's
Okay.
see that's
Oh
something I
my
would have found
God.
out if I did my
Dude,
homework.
I'm digging into some of this,
It's,
like in the background, the Blumhouse stuff. I had no idea about like, I mean, it says it in here. It's like micro budgeting productions.
Yeah, that was their.
But
that
it's
was their
like in a
thing.
macro sense, like to see it, like once they made so much money, but it's like giving yourself the freedom to like micro budget projects that you're
Yeah.
like, this could be a total fucking failure, but we only spent so much,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you make bank on it, and it's like, well, we only have to hit so many of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
fucking
there's-
brilliant.
It's
Yeah.
Now there's,
so
what,
great for
5?
the horror genre
I mean,
because
Oh,
yeah.
for
you
sure.
can make a
Oh
horror
my
movie
God,
just
dude,
really
people-
neat.
Blumhouse has made so much money by now.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
People just making money just gets me so hard. Like I just I'm like, oh god,
Absolutely.
my head is
Only
so
when it's
tiny, dude.
me.
Like, oh, it.
Now we're gonna have to cut 2 parts.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I mean, even like Emily and I went to go see Megan or Mithrigan, and that was a low budget.
Mithrigan.
That's a low budget
That's a low budget movie.
Blumhouse film. I
Really?
mean, for the
hate
most
that.
part, I mean, it's still a Blumhouse. I mean, comparatively to Insidious, it's not, but like it's still like
They had a
Yeah.
crazy like ad campaign though.
Yeah.
well,
They
that's what I'm
really
saying.
did.
It's
Like
That was
everywhere those
everywhere.
ads. They must
know,
have spent
but-
some money on that.
everywhere.
Blumhouse has evolved, but like
Yeah,
that's still a
people
big
know
part
For
of
sure.
their big MO is to make low budget horror films
With
know,
viral marketing.
with viral marketing
mean,
and make a
sure.
shit ton of money off of it. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
they've done it for.
Oh,
I
they
mean,
did-
and now they're like
yeah.
they did the Halloween movies and like they're
They did Get Out.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they
Oh,
did Get
yeah?
Out.
Yeah, they're-
That's like
That makes sense.
98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
no. I mean, like
Mm.
you go back through the past 10 years of indie horror films. It's either gonna be a Blumhouse movie or it's gonna be like an A24 film.
Yeah.
Like it's one or the other for the most part. I mean, every once in a while you get a Sony Pictures movie coming through, but like typically that's what it's between those
Fucking
two.
dinosaur.
Yep.
Do we
Yeah.
have do we have the critical reception for this movie?
Kind of. I couldn't find any good Google reviews for this one, so
Ah, shit.
Sorry.
Oh,
Damn.
I forgot you
good.
did that last week.
yeah.
That was good.
But
The people are gonna be disappointed.
generally, I know I'll find good ones in the future, but everyone was pretty good reviewers for this one. Overall, it was a 6 out of 10 type deal. There's a lot of reviews that like connect it to like Poltergeist, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
No,
in,
yeah, like-
in the second half.
Yeah.
They like it. Overall, yeah, it's like this one Roger Ebert. He gave it a 2.5
Shout out.
out of 4, which is a stupid review.
2 out of 4?
Yeah, 2.5 out of
Good.
4. And he said it depends on the character's atmosphere, shaky or sneaky happening, and mounting dread. Not terrifically good, but you get what you're expecting, which I feel like is pretty much like the summary of all of the critical reviews
Mm,
that
okay.
people give.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
pretty much what we reviewed. Pretty mid.
Yeah, I think I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes and it was around 60%, which I think is
Yeah.
where we're all at.
Yeah.
Kind of roughly. So yeah, I mean, I think everyone just recognizes the fact that it's not a great movie, but it's a good movie.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I mean,
It-
there's
is
a
a
lot
movie.
of movies that are like this that kind of follow the same thread, and I mean, it's just up to every person of whether or not it's something that they really want to, like I would put Sinister in the same category, and I like Sinister because it's got a few things that make that distinct, but it kind of has the same issues that this one does, where I think that the villain in Sinister is kind of
Yeah.
a silly goose, and
Mm,
Have you seen Sinister, Ryan?
I have not.
Mm.
yeah, but like once you see the first jump scare, maybe the second jump scare with Darth Maul in this movie, work for the most
Yeah.
part. Like the one where it's behind
Yeah.
Patrick whatever his name is.
Yeah, that got
Yep.
me.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah,
Wilson!
that's like
It-
one of the iconic scenes. Of
It
this
was in the
movie.
trailer though, so I was expecting it.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
the issue.
Oh,
With
yep.
that, I mean, it's still like
I
you
don't.
know what's weird
It's
is
just a dumb choice.
so the way jump scares hit me now, it's not like I don't jump. I get this rain of anxiety that falls from my head down to my chest. Anybody else ever feel that?
To my balls.
You don't feel that? Like it's just like you
It
get
can be quite
it's,
pleasurable.
it's a tingle that starts in
Yeah,
your
that
head,
sounds nice. I don't feel
and
anything
then
anymore.
and then it goes down like to your chest into your stomach. Like it's just like kind of like feels like if
You're
anxiety
climaxing.
was
Have you ever stuck your finger inside your belly button and felt it in your taint?
no,
Nightmare,
that.
nightmare,
No, I
nightmare,
haven't.
nightmare, nightmare, nightmare.
So as far as the walkthrough
Yeah.
for this movie, uh, it's going to be kind of clipped and shoddy because I'm going to be going off of my notes, which are basically courtroom notes. Normally, what I would do is I would take those notes, go into the Google Doc, and make them more coherent for myself to read. This time, we had tried out using Chat GPT
Yeah.
to
Ryan was sent from the
I-
future to destroy AI that's
I-
taking over this podcast.
I've been using Chat GPT as my therapist lately,
so we
and
tried.
I was
That's
like, "Hey
is that
man,
who prescribed you
send me a
Zoloft?
quick."
Is
Yeah,
fucking
for sure.
ChatGPT
Yeah, it's
present-
like, "Hey, you have a problem. You should probably talk to your doctor." And now I'm taking Zoloft.
Brought to you by
I'm
Pfizer.
trying Zoloft out.
So
No, but so I asked them for me to do like, hey, can you do like a quick scene by scene review of Insidious, and it was good, but it was
No!
short, and I
It
no
was-
no. I did two. I did
Oh.
one, and it was so vague. I'm like, can you like? And after that, I was like, can you do a little more detailed review of Insidious? And I just copied and pasted it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's probably fine. Because it was up until like yesterday, there was nothing. So
Yeah.
you know,
So I read through this thing, and they got so much wrong with the plot.
it
Way
was
I
off.
wish
it
we
was
would have
ter-
I
no,
thought I watched the
I-
Japanese version or
yeah,
something.
I
I'm like,
didn't
is there
read
two
it at
versions of this
all.
fucking movie?
yeah.
I wish we
So-
hadn't
Nightmare,
deleted it though,
nightmare,
because I
nightmare,
feel
I
like
know.
we
I
could
went to
read
look
through
for it. I went to look
And-
for it because I thought that'd be funny, but
Bring it back.
whatever.
Ian deleted it?
Yeah, I got rid of that so quick.
You fucking goon.
So I'm gonna be just going
Yep.
off of my scribbled notes here. So bear with me.
Yep.
The other thing that I'm going to
Yep.
say before we start the review is I am going to start plugging now, before the walkthrough, and at
Oh,
the
yeah,
end because
sponsor.
I'm a little shit. So we now have a
Sure, sure.
Patreon,
This is
guys.
a real podcast. Oh my goodness.
We now
Whoa, we have a Patreon, dude.
we now have a Patreon, and it is patreon.com/horrorphobia. There is one
Nice.
tier, and it's $1, and you get absolutely nothing for it. There's nothing on it. There's absolutely nothing. We have not figured that out yet. We will. We are going to
We'll
discuss.
send you our love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's literally. I think that the tier benefit right now for the $1 is our undying love and affection, is what you get.
Oh yeah,
We're not
Um,
very.
I'll give you all the love I have.
Nightmare, nightmare,
Yeah.
nightmare.
Our love
And
is
it's
cheap.
funny, when I was setting up the Patreon, I set it to 1, and they're like, "We recommend that you do at least 3." I was like, "No, if anybody decides to give us any money for getting absolutely nothing, it's gonna be $1." Like, because like
Give
we'll
us the
have
worst thing on a Burger King menu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not worth anything.
we'll
so
have we
that's-
will have tiers where we figure out we have some ideas in the works, but right now we don't have that fleshed out. But right now we do have a Patreon. So if you want to bookmark that and keep up, we'll be posting on our social medias about updates on the tiers, about the kind of benefits that we're going to be providing. Our other social medias obviously are Twitter at Horrorphobia Pod. We have our Instagram at Horrorphobia Podcast, and our Facebook is Horrorphobia, a spooky movie review podcast.
And
Plus, back to the show.
if you have
Sweet.
any movies you want to suggest us review, you either get to us on either of those or email us at horrorphobiapodcast@gmail.com. And if somebody would like to assist me and search through Pornhub for the perfect
Oh, send porn
perfect
clips
sound
at
drop,
work.
if somebody has
If
the
you know the movies we're in,
emotional stamina to go
Yeah.
through page 10 of watching a priest fuck a nun,
yeah,
YouTube
send
or
categories.
Pornhub porn videos,
Put it in
like,
the subject.
get on my
of the
level,
email.
send me an email.
It
And
doesn't have to be emotional stamina anymore. If you invite the army into this, if we have
Yeah.
everybody at the same time simultaneously just looking out, just like while you're naturally watching porn,
If something
if
makes you giggle.
if you happen to come across Lemon stealing horror or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, send that clip my way.
Yeah.
So that
A
way I'm
horse
not
fucking something.
yeah. I mean, nothing that's gonna get us like in trouble, please. Like
No,
absolutely
no,
no,
simulate,
nothing illegal.
simulated violence.
Nothing illegal at all. But if there's legal pornography that has funny sounding shit, send it our way.
Uh,
We
Give us
would
the clip.
love to use those clips.
And also, if you see us on the streets, any of us, give us cash in person or drugs.
Except
drugs, yes.
either, yes.
Destroy the
So
child.
We'll shout you out on
it's
the
more
podcast.
of a
Give me drugs, because I'm just gonna spend the money on drugs.
cash too. Also, cash.
So back to our review of SZA's SOS.
Scissors. So Insidious. Right. So
Incises.
the Insidious. Insidious.
And
This family, which consists of the father and mother, which are Josh and Renee, and their three kids, which we have Foster, we have Dalton, and the last one was it Callie? Is that the baby's name?
Yes.
Who
Yeah.
the
I think it
fuck
was
cares?
Callie. That was she's literally not important. Other
Useless.
than
She is.
Wham.
She
I
just
think
cries
it's the
about it.
Indian
She
goddess
cries.
of destruction.
She
she's there to
disappears.
cry.
Destroy the child.
Halfway through the movie, she
Oh, yeah.
disappears.
She really does. And Foster's not important either. The only important child in this movie is Dalton.
Dalton.
I thought I forgot there were two other kids.
Yeah, no,
honestly.
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Other than the crying.
So they just moved into this new
I-
house. Looks like a pretty nice house, nice neighborhood. Things are looking okay. The father Josh is a school teacher, and the mother is like a songwriter. She's like taking time off of her work to start trying to write songs.
Not
Which
very
is
good
pretty-
at writing songs.
Not very good at writing songs. I noticed that too. I was listening to what she was writing, and I was like, "That's kind of ass." Not gonna
So-
lie.
Y'all are
God.
cynical.
Was
Y'all
she,
Lord, Lord.
cynical.
Pretty weak Rose Byrne.
was she taking
Yeah.
a break because she was depressed or just to write music? I couldn't figure out like what was going on, why she took a break from
So-
whatever she was doing before.
If I had to put
I
this
mean, if-
together logically, it would be she had the baby, right? And then you have your maternity leave. And then she's like, "Hey, how about instead of going back to work, I take some time to like start trying my music career?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, I make good money as a teacher, which nobody fucking makes good money
Yeah.
as a teacher."
You bought a
Um,
house. Would have
yeah.
might be nice to live in 2010.
Biggest leap of the film is that a single teacher salary could support a family of
full
five.
And then buy another
Yeah.
house after you buy one.
Yeah.
Two houses.
But anyways, they have
Smoothie.
this son Dalton, who is a natural explorer. He likes to, you know, go look around shit's new house. He doesn't like his room very much. He says he can't sleep very well.
Yeah. He'll probably
Um,
never find the G spot though.
No, he won't. He's
None of
not
us
that
have.
good at
I mean-
exploring. We call that the further.
Wah, wah, wah.
But
Yeah.
he ends up going up into the attic because he hears a noise up there, and he's trying to turn on the light. He's too short. He's short as fuck. He's got a little T-Rex arm, so he can't grab the rope or the string to click the light. So he climbs up this ladder, falls, and hits his head. And yeah, it's super idiot. And then
Stupid.
he sees something in the corner. No one, we don't see it yet, but he screams. And then his parents rush up to him and they're like, "Oh, you hit your head or whatever." They put him to bed. And when he wakes up the next morning, he doesn't actually. He does not wake up the next morning. The next morning when they wake up, he doesn't wake up. He's dead. He's not
That's
dead.
it
He's getting
for
a coma.
Man.
He literally he doesn't wake up. He's in a coma. And
Cozy.
if my pacing for
Goes-
this review is off, it's because the pacing for the movie is off.
Yes.
Like everything that was one of my biggest gripes
Wild.
with this movie was it was boom 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 boom. It was like super quick. Like sometimes it would
Yeah.
cut to different scenes where I couldn't even tell if it was the same day, same room. Like the cuts were very jarring to me. So that was one of my biggest gripes for the film.
Sure.
But anyways, they take
Yep.
this boy to the hospital because he's in a coma, or so they say. And they say, "Yeah, he's in a coma, but there's no brain damage and there's no like trauma. Like we have no idea why. Like he's just not waking up." And they're like, "We've never seen this before." It cuts to 3 months later, and they've moved him home. They've basically set up a hospital room at his room in the house because the doctors have just given up, and a nurse is kind of showing the mom Renee like how to care for him. Um,
I want to roll back a
You
second.
ever do that, Ryan?
do what?
Nope.
Did you ever like shove a tube down someone's into like a feeding tube?
Oh no, you mean when I
that
worked
was
at People
tough.
Inc?
Yeah.
No, I
Is that
never
something they
had
had you doing?
No, I
did.
never had to do that. I just had to wipe a lot of ass.
Just up their ass.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
There was just a lot of ass wiping.
I started in NG too.
Emily?
Yeah, dude.
Okay. Yeah, I figured you had, but I was wondering about
So
Ryan.
the way that
And-
they measured that, she was talking about how she measures it, like you measure it from like the nose to the ear, and then from there down to like the between the nipples. Is that right? Is that like how you would do it?
Yeah. Yeah. She explained
Oh.
it so like coy though. She didn't even like demonstrate. She's just like, "That's how you do it. Good luck. Bye." And then just like,
See ya.
Cute.
Right.
Take care of your son. I want to roll back to
I gotta take a cigarette break.
the things that Jake calls cozy. He's what did he say in the last podcast? Because I have listed Alaska and a coma.
It was something funny.
You said
James.
something else, yeah.
Which that whole movie isn't fucking cozy.
No.
You listed
Oh,
something
what
else.
was it?
We'll find it when we go back. But the things that you list cozy are just cozy.
I think we said that the word Samhain was cozy in the last
Oh
movie.
yes, which
Yeah.
is that is cozy. Just Halloween, the
Like
coziest
you get
holiday.
caught in an
Yeah.
Alaskan occult ritual
Yeah.
while hiding in an attic.
Yeah.
And then you go
Like I
into a
said,
coma.
that's like it's a
Yeah.
warm Halloween morning
Mhm.
cozy movie.
Yeah.
Oh
You know?
my god. So
Looking kind
they're trying to live their life still, and she's trying to write her songs again, even though her son's in a coma. You know that's all those songs are going to be about. It's just my son's in a coma songs, which I
Wake me
can't
up.
imagine are very relatable. um,
She wrote "Wake Me Up"
She
by Evanescence.
Wait.
Wake me up.
Nice, dude.
oh shit! So she's playing on the piano, trying to write her songs, and she hears some like static coming from the baby monitor. And it's coming through kind of like it's garbly at first, but you hear like a voice, and you hear like there's nothing you can do. Like sounds like a man's voice. Like he says like I want it now, and like the baby starts crying. She runs up and no one's there. So it's just kind of like it's building tension at this point, which I think the movie did a pretty good job at of building tension. Like
Yeah.
I was on edge for a lot of like the first and second act. Like,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think that they did a pretty good job in the first parts of the movie of not showing their hand
Yeah.
because you want to see what it is, but it never really show you right away.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. They tease you a little bit.
Right. And then so she's talking to her other son, Foster, and he's saying that like he wants to change rooms and because he doesn't like when Dalton walks around at night. So she's just like, "What the fuck?" So that night, and this is where one of those cuts was. So she's talking to her son there, and then all of a sudden she's talking to her husband, and the way they did the cut, it almost seemed like they were in the same room, like it was like the same time of day. But like
Yeah.
it took you like a second to realize that like it actually jumped scenes. So this is like one of those examples of like an issue with the pacing that I have.
I kind of like cuts like that where it's like you're tricked and you kind of have to like catch up for a second.
Yeah, maybe I'm just too stupid for it. Like I'm just like, what? I miss
you-
half the dialogue before I realize what happened.
Do you think the little boy walking around is actually Tiny Tim? Is that what that is? Just dancing?
Like, do you mean like the person who's listening to Tiny Tim or Tiny Tim from the song?
Oh, the person that was listening.
The little boy with the
little
cap.
dude, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Said in front of
I
me.
thought that
Is that
was I'm pretty sure it's the demon that's listening to Tiny Tim.
No, the little kid turns it on when they move to the new house.
Isn't it like
And the demon's
the
listening at
people
the
he's
end.
captured
Yeah,
almost?
So all
like
of
the
these
suits
spirits
he can wear.
all of these spirits just like that song.
Well, the little kid does, and the The
Good song.
lipstick demon does.
This movie only cost $1
probably can
million.
only listen to so
They
many.
can only purchase so many songs.
That's
they
true.
have to use
That's
the
very true.
And
That song probably didn't
to,
cost
to
that much.
purchase a Tiny Tim, it's a tiny amount. You know,
Yes,
Tiny
exactly.
Tim.
So they that night after like he says like, oh, I don't like it when he walks around. There's a situation where the mom and dad are sleeping, and they hear a knock at the door. He goes downstairs, and he's like trying to look outside. He doesn't see anything. He arms the security lock, but then the baby starts crying, and this is the first jump scare. So the mom goes in there, and there's like somebody standing watching the baby. Something's just like looking at the baby, and it's like through like what kind of baby fucking crib has like one of those like sheer like curtain things like above like princess beds almost. You know what I'm talking about? Like where they have
Kinda
like
like
the
a mosquito
Mosquito
catcher.
net?
yeah.
It's very extra.
Yeah, it's
Are they in
super fucking
Florida?
extra.
Is
It's
this
the
You
first
tell me
girl.
on a
It's the
take place in
baby, the
Florida?
baby
on
girl.
a single teacher's salary you can afford that shit? No fucking way.
The mom's got an OnlyFans.
She
Very
for
sleeping in
sure
a
does.
shoebox?
And if she does, send me that link.
selling
But
feet
Oh, for
pics,
sure.
man.
um,
Not from this movie though.
did you say
Damn it,
gross?
damages.
I said from Rose.
Me?
I thought you
Oh,
said
okay.
gross.
No. Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay. So he goes down
Police psychic.
and
Spoilers.
the door flings
Definitely.
open, the alarm starts going off. He grabs a fire poker, starts looking around.
Fire
Can't
poker.
find anything. Is that what it's called? What's it called?
Oh, I have no idea. That's just funny. I have no idea.
Isn't it a fire poker?
A poker stick.
It's a fire poker.
Could be. Yeah, it could be. That's just it's such a
It
fun.
felt.
cute
I will
word.
say this. It felt wrong when I wrote
It's
it.
cozy.
No, that makes
You
sense.
wrote down fire poker.
I've never.
I wrote
I
down
don't
fire
think I've
poker.
ever. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard anybody refer to it as anything.
Well,
No.
what
Fire
would
po-
you call it?
fire
If I
poker-
picked that thing up and showed it to you, I'd be like, what is this? What would you call
Yeah,
It
Off
was,
the top of your
it
head.
was in a video game.
Yeah, I mean, probably a fire poker.
it? Yeah,
Yeah.
It's such a cute thing.
it's
Fire
cozy.
poker.
It's super
It's
cozy.
it's cozy. It's so cozy and cute.
Alright, I'm adding that in to the list.
Fire pokers.
So
Fire-
this crazy shit happens where there's obviously some fucking weird shit going on at night, and then apparently they just went to sleep because then it cuts to the next day where he's at school. And this is where Emily was talking about he's at school and behind him on the chalkboard is a picture of Jigsaw. And I wondered what the connection was. I didn't realize it was the same director.
Yep.
But that's the connection.
Yeah.
So he says he's got to stay after school and grade tests. I'm using air quotes for the listeners. Air
Yeah.
quotes.
Yep.
And she's the wife's back at home. She's kind of turning down Dalton's bed, and there is a bloody handprint on his bed. When the dad comes home late, she starts like accusing him of avoiding the situation, of avoiding her, avoiding the family, which he is. He wasn't grading tests. He was lying because he's fucking terrified of being home.
He's jaying
He
off.
was astral projecting to one of his teenage students.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that I
Hours.
really did think they were gonna.
Like a creep.
There was a scene where like after he called her and told her like, oh, like I gotta stay late to grade tests, and then it kind of like the way he put his hands on his face, and then it made like his wedding ring sparkle, kind of like shine or whatever.
Oh.
And
Goes to a strip club.
yeah, I was like, oh, he's cheating on his wife. Like that's where I thought they were going with it. But no, he's
Without
just
further
fucking.
interruption, let's celebrate
just like-
and suck some dick.
That's what he
I
said.
was just gonna say
Never
he
saw them
goes to like
titties.
an OTB.
Yeah.
Like he just goes to like a
he's going-
depressing place. He's like, I just go to like a Applebee's bar,
Yeah,
just not be
Hey.
home.
he's
Well, that's
got, like,
basically
a
what he's
Apple-
doing.
But like an Applebee's bar that has titties.
Oh, of course.
Like
He's
a,
at
I mean,
Cheese
if you can
Cake
get it.
Factory, yeah.
like a cheese. Yeah. Cheesecake
Oh, you know
Factory
he's a
at 2
teacher's
a.m.
powder. He's bad.
They call that an apple seed.
Yeah, you can't go to Cheesecake.
Oh, apple
Oh.
sleazy.
apple sleaze.
Apple sleaze. Apple.
Jane wants an apple sleece.
Apple double
Apple
D's.
Apple double.
Uh,
sleeve.
so
This is not sponsored by Applebee's.
No, but we would like
It
to
is
be.
sponsored by Apple Sleece, though.
Yeah.
Apple Slice.
Shout out.
Sleece is Apple
So she's
bottom.
like, "You've been avoiding me." He's like, "No, I'm just dealing with this shit in my own fucking way." And she's like, "Deal with this." And she throws the bloody handprint sheet at him.
I'm on the rag.
because she's telling him she thinks the
Deal with this.
I'm on the sheet. I'm on the fucking
Yep.
sheet.
I'm on the.
And she
Oh my
so she's telling him she thinks the house is haunted, right?
Oh,
And
it is.
she wakes up screaming. I have a bubble in my throat. I'm not gonna clear it because you can hear that shit, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
You guys hear that?
Jesus.
Doesn't that sound
Christ,
great?
dude.
Has that ever
Without
happened?
further ado,
Emily-
Super raspy.
Emily
Oh,
had
yeah.
one ear. Emily had one earlier while she was talking, and I was like gesturing to. I was going like this.
Me?
Yes.
Go-
Oh.
Yeah, it's the same one. It's the
It's the
same
same
one. That's
bubble.
popped back in your throat.
Yeah.
Go,
you
throw
can
up
have
in
it
in the
now.
bathroom.
You transferred
so
it to me.
sorry.
Uh,
So sorry.
the bubble is going
I don't even
further.
remember
Yeah.
having it. I have them so. That's just how I
It's
sound.
twice as bad now.
so all this freaky shit's happening, and the wife is just like, "Fuck this shit, I want to move." And they just moved into this place.
I
They-
want a divorce.
And honestly, he's kind of a great husband because he's
yes.
like, sure,
Yeah.
he's
that
very
was
charming.
kind of an amazing husband. Like he
Yeah.
becomes a little bit of a dick later, but when you look at it from his point of view, like he even brings up, he's like, "I fucking moved for you." Like,
Oh yeah, I mean, if your child was possessed and shit, it's like,
I
what
wish-
the fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
I wish
I'm
he
so
was
confused. I don't understand.
Yeah. I wish I was seeing some of the other shit my wife was seeing. It's like you're just like, oh, just be there like a second later. You're gonna see that guy's dumb face.
oh
Yeah.
god, no. So
It's
they
like
don't
almost the
move.
first one to enter a dumb haunted house, and they're like, oh, I was like 3 people behind, and we couldn't all fit through the door. So it's like, ooh, and I'm not, but I'm still gonna help my wife because she was scared. I don't know. You just do what you can.
Very husbandry.
Good husband.
Husband like.
husbandly. Is that right?
Not very
Husbandly?
husbandly. Not
Husband-
very
yeah,
common in the horror
husbandry.
genre.
Husband.
Yeah.
So,
Very charming.
yeah,
Jack Torrance wouldn't have taken that shit. He'd be like, I'm gonna pull the
Yeah,
battery
fucking
out of
right.
this fucking.
Absolutely not.
We're not gonna be
No.
able to even get down the
do not
sideline.
understand the responsibility I have of owning and paying for this house. So
Yeah.
like it
I am the hotel.
yeah, so they move, right? And they think everything's all fine. They move into this next place. Josh's mother is helping them unpack and stuff, and like she's like, "Sorry, we're doing this again." And like she's
He's
like,
pretty hot.
I love
"You're the
his
only
mother.
one."
She's great.
I do too. And one scene that's important in the unpacking scene is when she looks at a photo of the family, and she's like the mother, she's looking at a photo of the family, and she's like, "Oh, I can't believe you got Josh to stand still for a picture." She's like
Yeah.
all creeped out by something, whatever, and you don't know what that is until later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another scene. There's another scene too with I think it was whatever. What's his kid's name? Dustin, Dakota,
Dalton,
Dalton.
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 Jesus Christ. Who gives a shit?
low life.
Triggered.
Low life. Dalton. Dalton. Yeah. Nice,
out.
nice. Shout out.
Shout out
Low
Dalton
Life.
low life.
Shout out.
Nice, dude.
So
Shout
so
out
it's
to
it's
local.
yeah it's the mom and Dalton, and they were going through pictures, and they were like, show me a picture of dad when he was little or whatever, and the mom was like, I don't think we have any pictures of dad as a kid.
Oh yeah,
whatever,
like
like-
she said he's terrible at keeping shit like that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I don't remember what part of that movie that was. I just
That was
remember
like the beginning scene. That was before. he
yeah. It
fell.
was
When they're wearing like the
Yeah,
monkey
yeah, yeah, yeah.
pajamas or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Oh,
And
those
she
are
ca-
dope.
And she called her
Right?
mom old, or he called his mom
Great.
old.
Yeah. Oh,
He's like,
yep,
"You're old
yep.
as shit, Mom."
21.
Yeah,
You're 21.
Fuck.
You know what
Yeah.
she said? You know what? How she felt? She was like,
Yeah. Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
yes.
What's that from?
So
From the Big Lebowski.
Oh, okay.
they move to this new place thinking everything's gonna be fine because they thought the house was haunted. But then she starts seeing shit in this house too. And the first thing she sees, she puts on a record player. I can't remember what the first song she had on.
It was some
It-
Rose Byrne wrote some shitty song, and they
Yeah. But then the
Just her own
record
music.
scratches.
I don't know.
She's out.
Playing her own
What a
record.
fucking
Yeah.
nerd.
Oh,
yeah. She's playing her.
She's
own
listening to our podcast.
shit. Yeah. So she's taking the garbage out, and while she's outside, the record player changes to Tiptoe Through the Tulips, and she comes back in,
Yeah.
and there's a little boy dancing to the music. And she's like, "Oh shit!" And she starts like kind of following it around. She sees like some more creepy shit, like the what do you call it? The rocking horse is like going back and forth and shit. So she invites a priest over, and the dad comes home, sees this. What does he say? Like, is this the beginning of a joke? Like a husband comes home and finds his wife with a priest or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yep.
and so he comes home, and like the priest leaves, and like she's like, we need help with this shit or whatever. She also the mom comes over, his mom comes over, and they she starts telling them about like, oh, she came over because she's been having dreams, and like everybody's been having dreams. Earlier it had kind of alluded to how Josh was also having a dream of like a little boy. He was like looking at him from above his bed, and then it goes into this other room, and there's like a creepy old woman just kind of smiling and looking at him. So everyone's kind of just been like having these dreams and shit. But Josh is in denial about the whole situation. Like he's like, this is not happening. Like Renee starts freaking out, saying, "You don't believe me," and he's like, "I moved for you. Like obviously I believe you. I just think we're going too far with this." Um, and then Darth Maul is behind Josh. We see
Just like that.
there's a jump scare of there's just like a red face demon.
Yeah.
Great value, Darth Maul.
Yeah, great value Darth Maul.
Honestly, when you
Um,
introduced the podcast, you just should have said, "Hey, Darth Maul."
Yeah. Hey, Phantom Menaces, welcome to Horrorphobia.
Wait, that's good.
That's
That's
what we should have done. Is I should have gotten the Duel of the Fates for like
Oh,
right
yeah.
right when we talk about Josh going into the further, just start playing
That's
it.
good. That's good.
Damn it,
Right.
I'm singing it again.
Ryan, do it in post.
Okay, so
Fix it in post.
that's probably.
Dude, I'm
Do you know how much money that would be to get rights to that shit?
Not if you play it for
Podcast, they don't care. It's
You
an
play-
audio podcast. We know.
And honestly, we can go back
This is
after
on
after we're
YouTube.
served with the
Don't
cease and
fucking worry about
desist.
it, man.
Yeah.
We just go back and edit it.
All right, all right.
shout out.
Use anything. We'll deal with it. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
We'll cut around it.
John Williams.
Yeah,
can
shout out to the-
rob my
the pe-
knob, bro. That's what
Oh,
I
for
think.
sure.
Fucking
Yeah, that's
John
what I'm
Williams
sending
can
back, a
suck my
dick pic.
You know.
Cease and desist, more like sucking this dick.
Nice.
If we ever get one, can you just send that back?
Yeah. Fully my intent. You can use this in a court of law.
They're like, well, we can't fucking do anything.
Sir, we are not going to just use a picture of your penis. Yes, you
Do
will.
it. Please.
Slide
Does
it
the
over on
defense have any evidence they'd like to present?
Yeah.
Yes,
him.
I do have something.
It's
It's a picture of my
Picture of his-
penis.
This
Your
veiny
penis.
penis.
He's in the mirror drawing like a picture.
lewd act outs is what I have for you today. If it please the court.
Without further interruption, let's celebrate and suck some dick.
So the mother here, her name's Lorraine. She comes over and she says she knows somebody that can help with this situation. And so she calls over her friend Elise.
Mhm.
And Elise, well, first Elise sends her lackeys over, which are
Yeah.
budget Ghostbusters.
Which
It's
Ghostbusters is one of them is the writer of the film, and I don't know who the other dude is. He's probably just some actor.
Yeah, his
Wait.
name, the actor's name, Lay or Lee,
That's the writer.
Lay
the guy that-
Whannell, and then the other guy's Angus. So they play Specs and Tucker are these two guys, which
Oh, I see.
basically have this like kind of funny at first, but kind of tiresome relationship where they're always just kind of one upping each other.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like it was a funny dynamic at
I was
first, but they
exci-
did it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was excited when they came back. and yeah, it kind of got
Yeah.
Yeah.
like no,
And
no,
like
it was
the entire
overdone.
time, I'm just like the family has questions that they need answered. Like I have questions. Like
Yeah,
Any of
like
these
they were
sculptures
always just
ever
like who.
fall out of the ceiling and just have like a big messy shit? I don't have an answer. Or have a dingleberry.
Yeah.
Their dynamic was basically just like who can operate the equipment better, like who's
Yeah.
more important in this case or whatever. Like it just and they just kept building off of that, like joke after joke
Yeah.
after joke, and it got a
who
little
has a
old after
better
a while.
shot at sleeping with the old lady?
Yeah, with
I'm gonna
Elise.
guess Specs, because he's got that. You know, he's got that the chutzpah.
He's got the hog.
He's got the chutzpah and
Yeah.
the hog.
Oh.
And he's yeah. So they're doing all these readings. They have a tri-field meter they're
What's the
using
picture
and
clicker called? What is that actually?
fuck, I can't remember. I mean, they said they call it a modified children's toy, which I do remember having
But
those
what are
little
those
camera
called?
things with the wheels.
The click goggles.
Yeah, where
Click
you
on?
click it. So we basically just had it where there was a
Oh.
different filter every time that you
Yeah.
click it. They're trying to see into another realm, essentially. They call it the further or the upside down from Stranger Things, essentially. Like it's essentially uh, a mirror image of our world, but just in like the ghost dimension.
Yeah.
And they're trying to capture any signs of presence from this world being in our world using all this like weird Ghostbusters technology. And they find something. The one dude Tucker uh, ends up through his like little click goggle thing seeing like a creepy smiling woman next to the what the fuck you call it, grandfather
Clock.
grandfather clock, yes. So they're like, we can call her. So they call over Elise. Elise is this older woman who is very pleasant, very polite. And she just gives off that vibe where she's just like, I know shit about paranormal. Like I'm this is my shit. Like she's like a medium.
She's got some advice.
Yeah.
Destroy the child.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not really she's
Kill
more
it.
the opposite.
Smother it. What if that? What if that? That's the end of the movie. She just like
She's like
smothers the
she
kid
comes
with
in,
a
she's like,
pillow,
kill Dalton.
and she's like, "That's it. I'm gone."
That'd
That,
be easier.
that'll be
Yeah.
$2,000. I saved your son.
Yeah.
He's no longer in the
So-
further. He's in the down below.
She comes in and describes that the house was not the haunted thing, it's Dalton. And the reason why Dalton is haunted is because he can astral project, which we had mentioned astral projection in our review of Doctor Sleep.
Mhm.
It is when
I was gonna say we also mentioned like astral projection being passed down, like as in like in the book version, uh Jack or Danny is Abra's actual uncle, and in the movie they cut that horseshit out
yeah.
because they're not just like, well, you know, I don't want to have to explain their lineage, but they do that in this movie. They do it pretty quickly.
Yeah,
They're
like it's
oh, that's why.
hereditary.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just bring in that aspect of it to where they're like, oh, also you forgot about this whole thing where it's like you also were an astral projector when you were a kid and you're just traumatized
Right.
Traumatized.
because you're a school teacher.
So these spirits have all been kind of gathering around Dalton because he astral projected too far, and he went into something that they call the further, which
Further.
which is just it's hard to explain,
I
but
hate
it's
that name.
yeah, it's a just picture that you've gone so far that your link to your physical body is outside of your signal. Like you can't find your body again. Like it's hard to find your, you know what I mean? So
Sauce in the sauce.
yeah, so and they kind of alluded to
Oh,
why
I like being chained up.
yeah, the
In the
reason
further.
the reason why he would have done that, he was a natural explorer, like I mentioned earlier. Like he likes exploring the attic and stuff. And they mentioned that in his dreams he used to just astral project. He wasn't afraid of anything because he thought they were just dreams.
Man,
Yeah.
like thank God I couldn't astral project. Like I got lost at like every amusement park I ever went to as a kid. I got lost at like conventions
Yeah.
as a young
That's funny.
JW. Like I would have gotten lost like immediately if I could have.
Maybe
First
that
J
makes
Dub
you.
reference of the
Yeah.
Oh,
podcast.
I was
oh,
gonna say we've
Okay.
never brought that up
Ah.
yet. That's
Nightmare.
that's funny. God, yeah, for real.
You're coming out. Oh,
So, anyways,
I have a hard time getting lost. I do so much research to where I'm
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
and where I need to be.
yeah, just give me a map and a
Oh
compass.
my
you're good.
God, I love maps.
I can
They're
get
so
lost
cozy.
in my own hometown.
Yeah.
Do you know how
I
often,
cannot.
as an adult, I have asked my friends for directions to how to get to Walmart in a place I've lived for 20 years?
Yeah, no, yeah. It was the worst.
so you're not
Yeah.
an.
I know
Astro
every
projector.
way, if there's traffic, if it's a school day, if it's
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot living the Jake.
And I'm a
about getting
fucking
town.
mailman
Yeah.
now. My job is
Wow.
knowing routes
Oh,
and
yeah.
streets and
Yeah, that is crazy.
That's
Yeah.
good for you though. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
great. I would love that.
No, honestly, like, cause like since we moved to Nashville, not to completely locate us, but since we moved to like a
Oh,
completely
yeah.
different city, like it's nice that my job I get to drive around every once in a while. To
Yeah.
like I feel like I've gotten a decent like now since we've lived here like 3 years, like I feel like I have finally got like a decent grasp of the entire middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
I'm also older than everyone, and I never use GPS on my phones pretty much.
oh, I
No,
use
So
it
it's
all
like
the
you-
time.
I need
Every
it.
day.
I need an
You
overhead
traveled
view of
back from
everywhere,
like
everywhere
South
I'm going.
Carolina with a map. Like
Yeah.
That's so
that's just
sick.
crazy.
Dude,
I tell everybody
like-
who will listen that you did that. I think that's pretty
Oh.
impressive.
I envy anybody that can do it. And there's so few people that can do that at this point. Like we're so dependent on
Shut
our
up,
phones.
guys.
Like, dude, like, oh my god,
He's like,
this is so
stop.
cool.
Blow chip
Oh
for
my
the
god,
week.
dude.
Nightmare.
But I do like salvaging that skill. I just naturally do it because I like maps and knowing where
Yeah.
the fuck I am and
Dude,
going.
no, that's
Sounds like you
great.
astro project.
Yeah.
I do a form of it. I do like float well
Oh, shit.
over like
Oh no.
golf maps and like
He's got the
I'm
shine.
so obsessed with maps that I do
Yeah,
like visualize
well,
that type of shit all the
that's
time.
just like
Sorry.
your
There you go.
opinion, man.
Sorry, I didn't mean. I didn't mean to play that.
Did you cover up your own face with the window too?
I can't believe we share a lake with those fucks. Shout out Warren
good.
County, Ohio.
so
Warren, Ohio, wherever.
so these spirits
I'm
want
never going there.
they want Dalton's body because it's empty, because he has astral projected his spiritual body into the further, and now his physical body is empty. So all these spirits crave life. They want his body. That's why they're all haunting. So that's why Dalton is haunted. So the dad is still not believing this shit. He's like, fuck this shit. Like, he doesn't want to believe it. But his mind is changed when he goes into his son's room and he starts seeing drawings on his wall that kind of confirm the story of everything that they've described, of the things. Like, one of the things that his son drew was like, last night I watched myself sleep, and like he drew like the red-faced man they were describing. And like, so it kind of, he was in denial, but he gave in, begins crying because he finally gets it, like, this is real. He just didn't want it to be real because this is the hard way. This is the hard thing to accept.
Okay, so Ryan, what you since you rated this like the spookiest horror film that we've reviewed so far, like what as far as this film has worked the most on you as far as the what brought this to the being the spookiest film that we've done?
So the jump scares were done pretty well. I felt like even with me having like, so like the red faced demon behind him at the table there, previous scene, I had seen that in the trailer and it still made me jump. There was a lot of stuff like the old woman they show quite a bit was basically like a, I would say like a pretty like a creepier version of the old woman from the Shining, you know.
Yeah.
And then like later on we'll get to it, but like when they're in the further, like the family that's like the ghost family, like they do like their smiles, like when they like
Yeah.
it snaps like from like a straight face, like a smile and shit,
Mhm.
whatever. Like
Yeah.
those kind of things, like those are kind of the scares that get me more. Um, but like I said, I think it's
Yeah.
just dulled because I'm watching this through a different lens now. Because like ever since I started, I have this thing about me where when I'm doing a project, which I consider this podcast a project, I go into like work mode. And I so whether it's fruitful or not, or whether whatever, like whatever this becomes, we could have three people listen to us. It doesn't matter. Like I go into a project like whole cloth. And
Fuck yeah.
so when I do that, like I'm like, okay, so like I'm reviewing this movie now or whatever, and I'm watching it, and I'm like trying to take in the information, but it's going into my brain in a different form because I'm not just watching the movie anymore. Now I'm watching it and taking notes and like trying to piece together like, oh, remember that scene? I like that. Remember that scene? I didn't like that. Whatever. Like it's different.
Yeah, but I mean, do you still think that August Underground would bother you even if you had to review it?
Dude, it's not a good movie. There's nothing good about it. It's just fucked up.
We're gonna get those though.
You won't know what I'm talking about until you watch it. It's literally just imagine if somebody like imagine if Jeffrey Dahmer had a camera and just videotape what he did and there was no story other than just what he was doing. Like
Sounds like we could review that.
that's
Just
what it
watch.
was. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Well, I mean, either way, that would still affect you, right? You would still give that a certain amount of spook factor.
This
yes,
is
it
just
would
a
affect
this is
it,
just a
okay.
science
Yeah,
experiment.
so
Yeah.
okay, I get what you're saying.
We'll just
I get
we'll
what
just
you're
watch
saying.
police cam videos.
There's
Yeah.
just it's just I don't ever want to do that movie. But
No,
whatever. I
no,
don't think anybody
I
would like
Yeah.
it. No one would like it. It's not
no,
a
I
good
understand,
movie.
but I mean,
Like
I still think that even if you're watching that with
We're
a
definitely
critical
gonna
eye,
get
you would
those.
still have the same visceral reaction to the things that you see in that movie. So, regardless whether or not you have a notepad with you, I think that
You can still be
once you
bothered
see
by
something that
something.
upsets you, and like that's why I told you before with this movie is like this is a good um way to get a baseline for you of what like is going to scare you because it's very it's very effective jump scares, somewhat disturbing imagery, but like the lipstick demon by the time you're in the further in this movie, like at least for me completely lost its any
when you
effect
see it, it's
whatsoever.
horrible.
Anticipation.
Definitely.
When
Yeah.
you see it,
Absolutely.
like that is the thing. I mentioned that in my review is that the scariest part of this movie was the build up, was the
Yeah,
tension build.
yeah,
Yeah.
And half of his face, like half of his
Yeah.
face was scarier than the full face.
yeah.
Oh,
And like
absolutely.
in
It
this
usually
in the
is.
silhouette when the mother's telling them about the dream, that works too. When it's in the
Yeah.
corner of the room and the lady's describing it for the specs and he's drawing it, that worked
Yep.
for me also. It's just
Yeah, those were the two freakiest scenes for me
yeah,
was once seeing, yeah, like you said. I mean, the mom
yeah. But once
describing what she saw.
yeah, but once you're in
Yeah.
the further and like he's in the in his lair, like for me, I was like
Yeah.
I'm completely like I've it's lost it for me. I'm gone. Like
Yeah.
it's boring.
For sure.
Right.
Definitely.
But I
So
think we know we can push now that you are to a point where it's like, well, you know, let's break this up and let's bring this up a notch.
Yeah.
Even in the beginning where it's like, well, I've inoculated myself to like even like you said, it's like I'm already viewing this through a couple different layers that protect me. It's almost like dragging the comment section up to hide you from a video
yeah,
or something where it's like I'm using that as a shield. Like you have the reviewer's shield to get you through some of like our more difficult projects once we agree to tackle them and they're on the list. It's like there's going to be movies that just like as reviewers we're taking on movies that might like no one's going to watch this movie fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, we put this on the board as it's still going to be fun to go through something like we really don't like. So it's like same thing with the scare factor. It's like we can probably,
Yeah. There's just
I'm
bring that up a
actually
notch because
very excited to watch a movie that everybody straight up hates. Like,
yeah.
I
I think
I
that'll be a
can't wait
blast.
to get into that because I think
Yeah.
that'll be just funnier to
Oh,
just tear it apart.
yeah, roast it.
Again
Yeah,
with
yeah,
terrible
You'll really
movies,
find out who we are, viewers.
yeah. Yep.
Well,
Um,
especially like at least from the podcast I've listened to, if you review Halloween and you don't give it a good review, the whole Halloween like fan community just like comes after you for
Come the
not
fuck
giving
at
it,
us.
not calling it a masterpiece. You know,
Trevor's
I think it was a
axiom. Let's get
masterpiece
those
for its time,
let's
but
get those eyes on us.
again, there's lenses for everything. Like as we progress,
Yeah.
I mean, to bring this into something that like I guess I understand as far as time goes, like maybe a lot of people don't understand this, but like skateboarding, like shit that used to be cool in the 70s is not cool now. Like people
Whack.
were just learning ollies and pop shove-its and like that was like holy shit, that guy's pro. Like I casually skateboard can do a few tricks. If you put me back when skateboarding first started, I would be pro
The
because
thing
it
that's
hadn't progressed.
the thing that's cool about going back in time and what I really love about this genre though is like you could go back to a classic movie, like most of the movies in the 60s and 70s, and like you can see where all of the current movies have learned their tricks from. And I think that's really cool to like go back.
Style is forever.
Let's back this up a
Style is
second.
forever.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Because I heard you go when I said it would be pro. What you don't think if I went back to Jay Adams, Tony Alva era, I couldn't be pro?
Maybe it seems just irrational to argue it
We will
because I think it's a style thing. It's a context
we
thing.
will talk
It's like
about this
of
later.
the time.
That's bold.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think
Well, that's
I
just
think
like your opinion, man.
yeah.
I think it's just like like an in the time thing to where it's like there's intangibles. Intangible? That word sounds weird.
No, that's the right word. I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's like intangible
Nuances.
things that you're looking for that you of the time.
Yeah.
Like you're looking through it through that lens, but I just think there's stuff like I said, style is forever. There's stuff that even in the time when it was tried, people look back and like I learned from that and built upon it,
Yeah.
but you pay respect to those people
Exactly.
who were around
You pay
at that time. So
respect.
it's like I don't want I I know.
You pay respect, but you
it's
also
a weird
acknowledge
gray area.
you acknowledge progression. Right?
Progression.
Like
Obviously.
like
yeah.
and it's the same with movies. That's the point I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
like
You have to watch a movie with an open mind, for the time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know?
And I think we're trying to strike that balance.
Like the Shining, it's like I gave that a higher score, but if
Yeah.
like that was a movie that came out now, it's like this is boring as fuck.
Yeah.
we
Yes.
brought up
I agree.
the shortcomings that we perceived from our era and said, in the time it's like you get a pass or you don't, and you can argue that there's a huge leeway there for any reviewer to say, well, I don't know. I'm you can go at something that's been crowned and is held up as a sacred cow, and it's like that's what makes
Yeah.
listening to this fun is be like, I agree with that fucker. I fucking hate that opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's my
Sure.
take.
Yeah, Emily hates Shining. So,
Yeah.
1 out of 3 French
Yeah,
toast
but-
sticks, dude.
yeah.
So
I
let's
think I need
get into
to-
this.
Okay. I need to
No.
go back into my review of The Shining, but we won't do that now. We'll do that another time. Where I
Revisit.
defend the way I feel about The Shining.
We'll run out of content. We're gonna need
That
to do
would be kind of a fun idea is to go back and just take our reviews and be like defend them. You know what I mean? Like
Dude,
the-
absolutely. Even
like-
listening to old episodes, like we'll live view it together and just be
Yeah.
like, "What assholes
Yeah.
we are."
commentary
Look
on
at
our
these
commentary.
dumb fucks.
Honestly, when we
Yeah.
we do the little
so
like
meta.
blurb about ourselves at the very beginning of this, I'm just gonna be like, you're gonna hear that I hate The Shining. This is why. And
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
was
I
an
mean,
AI generated Emily that thought that I love this movie and I love our followers.
yeah.
Chat GP Emily.
yeah, yeah.
So let's get back into this review here because we got kind of a bit to go and we're pretty far into this thing. So essentially the Ghostbusters come back over after the dad is convinced and they do this ritual to try to contact Dalton from the further. and they're talking with him. He's saying things like, "I can't see in here. If they hear me, they'll hurt me. The man with the fire on his face will hurt me." And then the words switch to "you bitch, you fucking whore, I know you. I'll rip your innards out." So it's like it's no longer Dalton talking. Now it's the demon talking through Elise, and she gets kind of like spiritually attacked, kind of passes out. And then all of a
Any of
sudden,
these
Dalton
little
gets up.
fuckers ever pop out of the fucking wall and say, "Fuck, there's a horse cock in my room" or a donkey dick?
Not to my knowledge.
Got it.
Yeah. And so Dalton gets up. He smacks his hand on the table. Everybody flies back. There's all these flashing lights because earlier before they started, they're like, "Oh, we're setting up a camera that's going to detect paranormal activity and take pictures of it when it sees it or whatever." And so it's like the flashes are going off. It's like this is the seizure, causing imagery that Ian was talking about before.
There's
Um,
also the like kind of droning heartbeat monitor in the background, as well as the dim light of the green light that's kind of underlighting all of them in that scene adds like that, and there's like a child's lava lamp or something, or like a nightlight,
yeah.
like giving like a pink hue to the green of the heart rate monitor, rounds off the ambiance.
Ambiance.
So
Ambiance. Hmm.
Elise grabs Dalton and she's like, "Leave this vessel, leave this vessel." She like essentially exorcises him, and everything kind of calms down. When they're looking at the footage later, there was nothing on the pictures, but when he was going through frame by frame with the video camera, they did catch a single frame that the demon was inside of Dalton's body. You could see like an outline of it behind it, whatever, the red faced demon. So they're like, "Fuck!" Like it's close to just getting him completely. Um, so uh, the the mom comes back over and explains how the reason why Dalton can astral project is because it was handed down to him. It's hereditary because this is the same thing that Josh, the father, had gone through. He had done the same thing when he was 8 years old. The reason why there's no pictures of him as a kid is because every single picture of him as a kid, there's a ghost in the background of this woman. And this is the woman that we saw in the beginning of the movie and in some kind of like dreams that we were thinking that Josh was having. He was actually dreaming of an astral projection that he was doing, watching his own body, and then seeing this like creepy old woman watching him sleep.
Is that a good album cover where it's just a picture of a little kid with a ghost behind him?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, but it would have to be real subtle. Like the one where he's in a car, where she's in the car,
Yeah.
that it's real blurry.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because if it's too obvious that like there's just like a woman right there, then it's just kind
Yeah.
of throws it off.
Then
But
it's devil and God.
Destroy the child.
yeah, destroy that bitch. So basically their plan is like, okay, well, so we know Josh can astral project. He's like, well, okay, well, I'm gonna go astral project inside to the further, go find my son, bring him back. So with Elisa's help, he does that. She tells him to lay low, not draw attention to yourself. He does a horrible job of that because he's just walking around like, huh, Dalton, hello,
Dad?
yeah, like and
Mommy?
he finds Dalton eventually, and so this is where I get lost because this set pieces were bad. It looked like a play.
It was
Like if
protected by fog, for sure.
yeah, well, not even the fog. Like, so the houses and like when they're outside in the fog, fine. When they get into where Dalton's chained up, that whole area just didn't like it.
$1.5 million.
Yeah.
Let me remind you.
I mean,
Also, in the budget, do you know the name of the person who was the red-faced demon?
No.
that was somebody though. That was someone in the
It was
casting crew or
Yeah.
it was the
something.
same guy who played Toad in the X-Men
Yeah.
movie.
And it is also the same guy who did the music for the whole movie.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah.
That's a better fact.
Nice.
Right?
That's fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
So in their budget is
fact.
only one guy. In he does.
Do you think he got a
They couldn't
bonus?
they couldn't
All of it.
afford the Darth Maul guy to do all those
The
flips
stunts,
and the
Yeah.
all
spins.
those flippy flips. They're like, can you
Pretty-
That guy
stick
can
he's a
your
move.
pretty
tongue
cool
out?
guy, though. Like, I really want to meet him. If he's that into it,
Yeah,
he
that
does the
sounds
music
cool.
and the acting,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and he looks like
So
Sounds cool as fuck.
he's getting Dalton back, and he's like he breaks the chains off of him. He's getting Dalton back. Them
Break
other
the chains.
demons don't
Break-
know how to act.
Mhm.
So the demon
Is
sees
that
him.
your JT impression?
Yeah, dude. So he got
Also, Break the Chains. That's a great song
Yeah,
yeah.
from Fleetwood Mac.
yeah.
So the demon starts
It's coherent.
coming after them, and the demon just this is where it looks cheesy, like it's not as scary anymore. Now that they've shown it, like they're showing it, and it's not as scary. It's like
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
where you're laughing in the haunted house.
the
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah
Absolutely.
the build up.
It reminds me of in BioShock Infinite, there's like those like fake historamas of like it reminds me of like a small world after like it's a small world after all or whatever that
Oh,
ride is at Disney
like the
World. at
George
Disney.
Washington guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah,
Tin
forgot
Soldier
about
section, like the
those.
Hall of Victory.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like to where it's like these things pop up and
Yeah.
are like, poof. Have you ever seen a clown demon? Here's your chained child.
That's
Rescue
yeah.
him if you can from the Red Savage.
Yep.
But
So
not like that.
he runs out.
Worse lit.
He runs out of the place with Dalton, and he's in like the foggy area in between the two houses. All these ghosts are like coming after him. Back in the real world, around Josh's body, his soulless body, the house starts shaking. All these ghosts start like crossing over into the real world, trying to possess his body because they're like, "Oh shit, that body's empty. We want one." And you know, eventually, all that stops. Josh is back in his body, and the uh, Elise, the medium woman, is like, "Oh man, like glad that's over or whatever." And she goes to talk to Josh. He hands her like he's like, "Oh, I guess I don't need these pictures anymore." And she like looks at the hands, and like his hands are all fucked up. Like they look like the fingernails are all dead and shit. And so she like takes a picture of him real quick, and she looks at it, looks all scared, and like he's like, "Why the fuck would you do that? Why the fuck would you do that?" And he strangles her to death.
So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
it's
would
like,
you do that?
Oh yeah.
yeah, he's like, "Why would you do that? You know I don't like my picture. You fucking take it." And he strangles her. And
Under, understandable. For
Renee
sure.
comes in and is like, "Josh, what's going on?" She finds Elise dead. It's like, "Holy shit!" She picks up the camera, and this is where you have the vertigo stretch scene. One of the other, there's been tons of them in this movie. You
Yeah.
have a vertigo stretch scene of her looking at the camera, like, and all those violins and fucking, and you hear Josh being like, "I'm right here," and he taps her shoulder. She looks around, looks horrified. The end. Insidious.
Such a cop out of an end of a movie. Like that could have been 20 minutes longer and then just like finish that scene.
Yeah.
I,
Watch
haven't-
Insidious
I was
too.
almost
gonna say I
expecting an
haven't seen
after
the
credit.
second one. so-
Insidious 2 picks up right right
1.5
Really?
million.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Insidious
'cause
2
that's
picks up right there.
That's kind of cool.
Does it?
yeah,
Okay.
Good
and
move.
this is like the in the middle of the story. I guess it's like the
Oh,
third
interesting.
act of Insidious.
Yeah.
Like chronologically, I
Yeah,
guess.
I haven't seen
There's like
third, but I think-
5 or so.
Yeah, I think the
Have you
third-
seen them all?
I've only seen.
I have not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they
no.
all PG-13?
I like chat.
What about Katie?
I don't know. I don't know. I've only seen the first and second.
I like ChatGPT's third act. It was good.
What was Chad
It
GPT's
was
third act?
triumphant. They beat Josh.
Oh hell
They
yeah.
Yeah.
beat the
Oh
demon
yeah,
out of
because
him.
the house blows up or
The
something.
house
I know.
collapses
I'm like, what the
behind
fuck?
them as
I-
Elise
Yeah.
and Dalton and
We
the
need it.
mom Renee.
I wish I kept that because
the house literally collapses.
I did not realize how bad it
It
was.
was a lot more color out of space, which I think
Yeah.
like lends true to the AI concept of being like that's something from that we've created whole cloth that might destroy
That's what
us.
AI
Dude,
Oh,
I
yeah.
stopped
know?
reading.
Very Lovecraftian.
I stopped reading that review. They're literally like one of the first scenes they talked about. They're like, "Oh, the family moves into a new home to start fresh after Dalton's fall."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I was
I
He
was
like,
fell
like,
from a ladder, and
wait a
"That's not
second.
what happened." Like,
No.
it's like
no,
you
no.
read that document in
Yeah.
0.0001 seconds and started. Went go.
yeah, I was like, okay.
No,
Never happened to
my
anyone.
brain is
Well,
fast, but not that fast.
Happened to me once.
That we find out which one of us is a robot.
Yeah.
No, thank you. It's me.
So yeah, but like, I mean, I know we haven't said a whole lot of positive stuff about this movie. Going through it, it's more just been ripping on it, but
Shitting on
it's
him.
not horrible.
We've
No.
rated it
No,
positively.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, and I think if you are someone like me or like Ian, that this is your favorite genre, you know, if haunted house is your, you know, paranormal haunted house kind of family being torn apart by
Watch this scared family.
it's a fun version of that movie. It's not my favorite. Like I
Yeah.
would me personally, like I love The Conjuring, I love Poltergeist, I love Color Out of Space. I love all those way more than I love this one.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth a watch if you're a big fan of that
It's-
type of movie.
It's super classic. Like
Yeah.
if you it's like we said about like I feel like Trick or Treat, like it's something you could put on and easily watch. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not
I think there's
it
a decent
doesn't-
amount of rewatchability for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't work your brain super hard. You just
Yeah.
it
Mm-mm.
moves
As
quickly.
long as you know what
Maybe
acid
not
projections, you're good.
logically. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's fun
yeah,
to
yeah,
watch.
yeah.
That's fun.
That's fun.
Pretty fun
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna pick a less fun movie for us to watch next time.
Absolutely.
so yeah, I mean, I guess speaking of, well, actually, no, we got to go to.
We can pick our next movie and then do games. No, I don't really care. We'll do
We
it.
gotta start with Blowjib.
Yeah,
Blow
we
jibby
gotta
jibs.
do blow jibber of the week. So I guess let's start. Who wants to start? I guess.
Give me the yang yang.
Does anybody want to start with their guess?
I'll just start because it's like when you know when you're like at someone's house and like they're like food's ready and no one fucking goes up to eat food and like someone's got to break the ice.
That's what we do with
Like
My
Oh,
boy going eat.
6
I'm gonna
people
do
on
it.
this
Yeah.
podcast.
I'm gonna take the first plate.
Grab your plate.
I'm taking the
Grab
first
that
plate.
plate. Young blood.
So I just have the scene where Elise is grabbing Dalton's face and it's like, leave this vessel, like leave his body. Like,
Fill this vessel.
She just wants it to be
Fill my
done. She's
vessel.
just ready.
yeah.
Fill my
All
vessel.
right. Emily, what's yours?
Mine's stupid. It's when Rose is on the phone and she's like, "Speak to an agent," and then he just comes up behind her and it's like, "I'm an agent." That's it.
I'm an agent.
That was stupid. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that was dumb.
I said it was.
Ian, what's your guess for blow dribber of the week?
So when the psychic Elise is going over all the rules, like all 20 rules about the seance, when I think when they're about to, I forget if it was with Dalton or if it was with, oh man, I think it was with the husband, Josh. She was like, "You're gonna see a lot of confusing things you don't understand, but do not question them and do not speak in any way. And I want you to know whatever I say when I'm in tune will be at the a very low volume. You won't hear anything." And there's like a dramatic like build up of music.
Pretty.
And she's like, "Dim the lights, please." And then
That's hot.
And she's sucking
Yeah,
everyone in that room.
sucking some people off for sure.
All right. Oh, Jake, what's your guess?
Mine was one I leaped out to me right away. I saw it right off the bat when I first watched the movie. It's when Elise the psychic is talking about the seance to bring Dalton back. The mom says, "How do we bring him back?" And Elise says, there's something we can try, but it's a little unorthodox, and I would need your complete trust.
Dude, nice.
Yeah, that's
Nice
great.
one, dude.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's
Good pick.
all I think about. Is
Good answer.
Loads and
A
blowies.
good organic thought.
Okay.
Lots of cum.
I just posted another one in the chat that I think
Yeah.
was better, and I think might actually be it. But I'm not going to say it until after.
All right. We'll see
But he's got it locked in.
We'll see what Jake says.
All right. Without further ado, this is Blow Gibber of the Week.
Have faith, you know. Trust it, you know.
Hello.
Josh,
It's first line of a joke, right? Guy comes home to find his wife with a priest.
this is Liam Martin. He's
Nice to meet you.
actually a very old friend of mine. This is my husband, Josh.
What's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
so
dude.
pissed.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, how did no one guess it? But
You
Ryan
hit
did.
Yeah.
me.
It was number 2.
You put it in the chat.
Oh my
Solid.
god! I'm
My
so
heart
mad.
sank when I read that, and I was like, "Fuck."
That's a good one.
Yeah. Damn it.
Dude, I'm
Like,
so
that's-
mad
Yeah.
because I was like,
That's the most.
the only reason I didn't take that one is because I thought it was gonna be somebody else's. So I was like, oh well, I'll just let somebody else have that one, and I'll take this one.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Oh.
was one on my
Honestly,
list, but
it
I didn't
could have
really
been
know
I was
mine.
trying.
But I was so locked in with mine.
Guys, we would have been watching Disturbia.
I,
Oh,
Oh,
I
that's-
love
yeah.
that movie.
to review
so
It's like a
scary.
summer vacation.
You can
So
you
scary.
put that on the thing though?
Cozy.
Because I would love to watch Disturbia.
I'll fucking
Yeah.
nominate Disturbia.
yeah,
sure.
you. Yeah, dude. Like it was
Disturbia.
between that and it was. I almost did the. I want it. Give it to me. I want it. I want it.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying.
But
This
but
movie
yeah.
was
it was too quiet. Like
That
they
guy
couldn't bring
wanted
that
it.
sound up high enough. It
Mm.
was too annoying, especially with the
Ah.
piano crash music right after. It was just too much. And I was like,
Oh.
"Fuck this shit," and I just went to my second choice,
Yep.
which was the priest joke. So
This movie was rich with jokes for this. Like
Yeah.
It was.
I do think because like I felt like Funny Games was kind of devoid of them.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
honestly, all of your guys' suggestions, I was like, damn, I kind of wish I had thought of some of your guys' guesses, but it is what it
It's
is.
that back and forth makes it special.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's the different ways we like our blowjobs that makes us special.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
It's
like
like for everybody.
I like them hard and sloppy.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so I guess let's
I'm
try to
changing.
find a new movie to do next week. So Emily, you had Barbarian.
I am changing to
I'm changing.
your bitch.
Bigger tits.
Haven't seen them titties yet. Never saw
I
them
think so.
titties.
Alright. Are you changing? You're changing.
Wait, who's changing?
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
I'm changing.
Oh my god.
This scene makes me think of when I found out my grandfather died. All right. Well,
The Exorcist, you said?
Ian, you had
I'll just keep mine the same.
ready or not?
No, he had Jennifer.
Yeah, I'll just keep
or
it.
did you have?
No, Ian. Or
I had
Ryan-
Jennifer's body.
Ryan was Jennifer's body.
I have Jennifer is on my team. Okay.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
on my
that's
draft
Yeah.
team.
Ryan,
This
Are you
next year-
willing to trade?
you want to
Yeah.
keep it Jennifer's
Fuck you
body,
guys.
Ryan?
No, I'm going Disturbia.
Yes.
Disturbia.
I hope. Can I change mine also to Disturbia so
No.
we have a 2 against? Okay.
No.
What did I have on there?
You
Oh,
had
Hellraiser.
You had
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
Yeah, that's a tough
Hellraiser.
one to take off. I kind of want to. I mentioned Darkness Falls earlier, and I kind of want to change it to that, but I feel like then we have too many shitty
That
fake
fucking
movies
that
on there.
movie.
August Underground, dude.
What's that?
Oh my
August Underground.
God.
Is Darkness Falls the spoiler alert? The Tooth Fairy
It
one?
is.
Cut this.
Oh.
What?
Okay,
What
yeah.
movie?
That would. I feel like I'll add that later. I'm gonna keep mine Hellraiser.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
1987.
That's good.
Ty Baker.
If you want me to cut it, just say I'm gonna stick with Hellraiser.
I'm sticking with Hellraiser. I think. Leave that up on the board.
Nice. Good pick.
All right.
Thanks.
I'm
I made it right away.
I am going to do. I was gonna do Antrim, but I'm still scared of it. Kinda
He's
don't wanna
giving
do
it a minute. Jake's too scared.
Yeah, scared of it.
Antrim.
Hours.
Wait, I'm not even
Pussy.
scared of it. I
Chase.
just feel like
Dude
I
sucks.
feel like it's
Ants?
just gonna.
Did you watch
This is
it?
the guy we have to beat in trivia.
It's one of the movies.
It's, yeah.
It's
This
one
is
of
who
those.
you're afraid of, and
It's one of those movies. I feel like It's just gonna put me in a bad mood. Like I don't know.
Well, so does
know
looking
what
at
we can
multiple
do?
Blowjobs?
blowjobs
You know what we
over
can
and over
do?
again. Like,
We
I
could
watch too much porn.
we could do we could do a competition of trivia questions where I ask you a horror one and then you ask me a superhero one and we go back and forth
yeah,
to
yeah,
see how far we get.
Who can outdork the
yeah, for
other?
real.
Like I can outdork you as far as horror movies, but you can outdork me with fucking superheroes. I'm gonna do Miss 45.
whoa, I don't know that.
Miss 45 is what one of the characters in Euphoria dressed up as for Halloween.
Oh, okay.
I've only
Happy
seen
Pride, everyone.
I've only seen certain scenes of Euphoria.
I'm sure you have.
Sydney Sweeney
I'm sure
in
you
particular.
You don't watch Euphoria?
Isn't there a girl that's in Spider-Man in that movie or a show?
Yeah.
Never
Yeah,
saw
I
them
think so.
titties.
Zendaya.
Never saw them titties.
They probably both have family that's on the right
Zendaya.
wing.
Never saw them titties.
I don't think
Yeah, Zendaya is it, but she does not show her titties
no,
because
no.
she.
I mean, she's young
Just
though,
she's
so I
respectful.
understand.
All right.
I
so
think she
we-
just has enough of a career where she doesn't
Yeah.
have to. Like,
Yeah, sure.
She's like, I don't got to do that.
Well, so on the wheel we have Hellraiser, Disturbia, Ready or Not, The Exorcist, and Miss 45.
I'm so fucking excited for Disturbia.
So let's spin the wheel, you punk bitches.
Me or Emily gets it, then the
And
other one gets the
It
next free one.
is Ready or Not.
That's
Whose was ready or not?
Ian.
That was me. That was me. Oh my
Ian.
god,
Super
I'm so
good.
excited.
Oh my-
Is that
This is-
is that two for you?
This is second in a row.
Yes,
No,
it's not in a row.
I've had two.
No, I
Not in a
did. I
row.
got Insidious.
Ah.
Insidious
So-
is mine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I never win anything. I'm so excited. This is a great movie.
So-
It's a
I
great
like this movie a lot.
You're gonna love it.
So
Have you
Ryan,
It's a new movie
and Emily
too.
still hasn't got a movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry, so we
We-
still haven't gotten down to the
Jesus.
once one of you gets selected, the next person will be the next person.
Fucking better.
in
Yeah.
the-
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it
now-
We
with Samara Weaver in it?
Samara
Ryan
Weaving.
Weaving,
Wait, Samara Weaving.
She's so pretty.
the main character.
Yeah.
Oh, she's
Have I
Yeah.
seen any movie with her or this movie?
my favorite scream queen right now.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yep.
Samara Weaving. That name sounds super
She's-
familiar.
Do we want to
She's
live
Australian.
view the trailer this week?
Oh yeah, we could do
Ooh,
that.
She's
yeah.
Australian. Oh,
Australian, mate.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
I
that.
know this girl. She was
Fire
in the,
up
she was
the
in the
bar, baby.
babysitter.
Yeah.
I've seen the babysitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, have you? Nice.
I
Alright.
have seen the babysitter.
This would be a good one for like me, my mom, and Hitler too.
Oh my god.
There's so many
Oh
like
yeah.
God.
crazy
Okay.
deaths and
Yeah,
shit.
for sure.
No.
Never saw
I
them
think so.
titties.
No,
Never. Oh god.
We're just heating up here, folks.
Aloha Savings.
Oh my God. I'm actually really excited for that movie.
Yeah.
That looks really good.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
It's
That was a really good trailer.
it's
We'll
gonna be a lot of tens going around here probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard to.
hints. I mean, I will be. I'll give it a high.
I gotta be.
It's one of my
trans-
favorite movies.
It is
Good
what
movie.
it is. It's Ready or Not.
It's got my own. name in
Ready
it,
or
you know?
not.
Should I do coke before the movie?
Yep.
Oh
Whoa!
What a
Shit.
stupid question.
shit.
If you're my coworker, stop listening.
Mom?
Oh my God.
Turn it off.
Well, before we go, once again, our Patreon is patreon.com horrorphobia, Twitter at horrorphobia pod, Instagram horrorphobia podcast, and Facebook horrorphobia. Horrorphobia.
I'll get
Horrorphobia. Spooky movie review podcast.
All right.
Follow us on one of them, at least. It's the least
We're
you can
funny.
do, fuckers.
Okay.
Astral project into the further and send the psychic energy out into the further.
Yeah, dude. Or into the past and subscribe
Yep.
to us.
Tell them to listen to our
Before.
podcast and tell a ghostly friend.
Yeah.
as long as they don't drink Bud Light.
Take
That's
your
the
dead
way to
friend's phone.
take your dead friend's phone.
I'd be. And
Kick your
or
best friend's shoes.
put it in, drop it fully into a keg of Bud Light this week. Happy Pride.
Throw away your GPS and use a map.
Thank you so much
Bud
for
Bad.
listening.
Thank you.
Come back next week
Adios.
for Ready or Not.
Ready or not?
Bye.
Bye.